Okay, students, welcome back to the grammar mini lessons. This is lesson 2.2. We're going to talk about verb patterns. So I'll share my screen here. All right, now verb patterns basically means that after some verbs, you use the ing form. After some verbs, you use the infinitive form. And it can get really confusing because some verbs, they can take both, either the ing or the infinitive, and it will have the same meaning. Some verbs will take both, either ing or the infinitive form, and it will have different meanings. And then some require that you only use the ing, and some require that you only use infinitive. So it is a lot of memorizing. Again, I want to emphasize that the more you read, the easier things become because you will see it used correctly all the time. And once you see it used correctly, it becomes more natural for you to use. But in the meantime, I'll go over this and I'll give you some material that you can study if you need some help. Let's look at here. Many verbs can be followed by a verb in the ing form. So verbs like and dislike, adore, love, detest, can't bear, stand. Some can also be followed by the infinitive, but the meaning changes. Okay, so already we have some confusion here. We have the verb regret, and when we use it with an infinitive, it means one thing, and when we use a gerund after it, it means something completely different. So let's look at a little bit of a difference here with regret. We regret to inform you. When you use regret with the infinitive, that means that basically we're saying sorry that something bad is going to happen. So we're sorry before we speak. He regrets telling her. That means that he wishes he did not tell her after he already did it. So he's sorry about it after he's done it. So there's a different meaning depending on how you use this. Some verbs will take a preposition after them and then the ing. That makes it even more confusing. Here we have, are you still interested in buying the property? So we have interested plus this preposition in plus ing. And this is just a little bit of an extra thing for you. It doesn't have to do with verb patterns so much, but sometimes an ing form is just a gerund. Then you can use a gerund just like any other noun. Nouns can be subjects, nouns can be objects. So you can use them a gerund any way that you use a noun. Basically, the definition of a gerund means that it used to be a verb, and then they put ing on it, and it turned into a noun. Okay. All right, let's go on to infinitive with to. So some verbs appear, decide, fail, need, offer, refuse, want, wish. Okay. Hope, expect, promise are often followed by the infinitive. They hoped to negotiate a better deal. So after this verb hope, we have to negotiate. After certain verb plus object combinations, okay, so be careful with this object in here. So the police asked, and then they have the object everyone, and then they have the infinitive, to remain calm. Okay, so these verbs follow that pattern a lot. My doctor advised me to take the medicine. My teacher allowed the students to turn in their work late. Okay, so you see how it has that verb allow or verb advise, and then it has the object, me or the students or whoever it is, and then it has the infinitive after that. There are some phrases that you can just memorize also that have these infinitives built into them. I was happy to help. Okay, so after happy, we have this infinitive just built in. Let's go on here to passive infinitive or ing form. So basically, you guys know about passive voice. And so it can be tricky when you're trying to take infinitive or ing form and then change it into passive voice. So basically, it's just this phrase, being done or to be done. So this is the passive ing, and this is the passive infinitive. Okay? So I hate being told what to do. Okay, so after hate, we already have the ing, and then being told what to do, someone else is telling me what to do. I'm not actually doing it. That's why it's passive. And then we have the passive infinitive, same thing. He was considered to be, so the verb consider takes infinitive, but he's not actually doing the considering. Somebody else is considering him to be the right person. So they changed it into the passive voice. So passive voice for ing, being done, passive voice for infinitive, to be done. All right, and the perfect infinitive or ing form. This is probably the new thing for you guys. So let me try to explain it. Basically, it's just like any other perfect form. Perfect is used to emphasize when one action happens before another. Okay, so sometimes we can just integrate the perfect into this ing or infinitive so that we don't have to really make the sentence too long and complicated. So she mentioned having seen him leave. So we know after mention, we use ing. And then when we put it in this perfect form, it automatically tells the listener that he left before she mentioned it, which seems obvious anyway. She mentioned having seen him leave. They seem to have solved the problem. So that means that they solved the problem before now, basically. So don't worry too much about this right now. It will come naturally to you as you start to practice. So yeah, maybe I'll give you a little bit more advice on that in class. We have these verbs of preference: would like, love, hate, prefer, rather. And many times we can use the perfect infinitive to talk about an action in the past. So we would hate, so here we have hate, and then to have lost the match. Basically, this just means that in the past, we really didn't want to lose. It's a very complicated way to say it. People say they use it in native English. Speakers will use this, but most of them avoid it just because it is a little bit complicated. Okay, when we make it negative, we can have not plus infinitive or not plus ing. So it's quite common not to understand at first. So just notice where the not goes here. It doesn't go in between the to and the base form. And not understanding is quite common. And infinitives, just like gerunds, act like nouns, so they can also be subjects. To learn is important. Not to thank her would be impolite. So I know that's a little bit complicated. I'm going to attach onto your Unit 2 channel some documents that might help explain it. It's a little bit of memorizing and a little bit of going with your gut. So it is something that can be difficult. So give it the attention that it deserves. Okay, and that's it for today. Hopefully these are helpful for you. And remember, you can always ask me any questions in the chat.